Good morning, students. I hope you understand the facts about the immunity which I taught you in my previous lectures. So, right from the different type of immunity like natural and adaptive immunity, the cells, the involved cells, the cytokines, the different type of receptors, I hope you understand very well the cellular and humoral response of the immunity. In the second lecture, I taught about the hypersensitivity reaction, type 1 to type 4 reaction. The type 1 reaction, the prototype is the allergic reaction, anaphylaxis and bronchial asthma. Type 2 reaction, again 3 types like antibody dependent cellular cytotoxicity, that is ADCC, then complement mediated, and then antibody mediated dysfunction, cellular dysfunction. The examples of the type 2 hypersensitivity reaction is the different type of diseases like the Hashimoto's, then myasthenia gravis, erythroblastosis fetalis, hemolytic disease of the newborn, etc. Then type 3 type of hypersensitivity, that is immune complex mediated hypersensitivity reaction, and it is seen like in different type of glomerulonephritis and systemic lupus erythematosus. Then type 4, the prototype is contact dermatitis and the tuberculosis. So in the second part, I taught about the different type of hypersensitivity reaction. Then in the next, that is third lecture of the immunity, I taught about, so in hypersensitivity reaction, the antigen is exogenous. It may be microbial, it may be non-microbial, but when the antigen is endogenous, it will cause autoimmunity. So in the third lecture, I taught about the autoimmunity and the autoimmune diseases, and the prototype is SLE. In the autoimmune diseases, I think you understand the things which I taught. So in the autoimmune diseases, the antigen is endogenous. It may be the different cellular antigens, different type of tissue antigens, and our own antibody and our own immune system will act upon it and will cause tissue injury. So the prototype is the systemic lupus erythematosus, which I taught in detail in my last lecture. Now coming to the today's topic, that is rejection of the tissue transplant. As you all know, in this modern era, we heard about many different types of transplant, like kidney transplant, bone marrow transplant, and then heart transplant, lung transplant, etc. But the most common is most commonly done transplant is the kidney transplant, and then the bone marrow transplant or hematopoietic stem cell transplant. So for the transplant to be accepted, it should have certain different things. Why? And we should know why the transplant is rejected. So it is very important, because we do some this precious procedure on the patient, and we take kidney to the other donor, and then we transplant it, and it becomes rejected. Then how? But why it is rejected? We should know the fact. So in this lecture, we taught about the rejection of the tissue transplant. First, the kidney transplant. I taught about the kidney transplant. I tell about the kidney transplant. So what is the tissue rejection? It is the process by which T lymphocytes and antibodies produced against the graft antigen react and destroy the tissue graft. So in the recipient T lymphocytes are there, antibodies are there, and before the transplantation, we immunosuppress the recipient, but still they have some T lymphocytes and antibodies in their system that will produce against the graft antigen. They react this graft antigen and they destroy the tissue graft. The major antigenic differences between the donor and recipient that result in rejection are the differences in the HLA alleles. What are the prerequisite for the graft? It should be HLA matched. First and most important thing is that graft should be HLA matched. So in my previous lecture, I taught about the HLA genes, HLA alleles. So in the donor and the recipient, we do that there should be not 100%, but there should be maximum HLA matching is there, and 100% matching is there only in cases of identical twins. So never there is HLA 100% HLA matched. because of the polymorphic. HLA genes are highly polymorphic. They have very differences. So it is not possible to 100% match the HLA alleles, and this is the main cause of rejection in the transplants. Though we immunosuppress the recipient, but still there is reaction, and that is the cause of the rejection. But in the identical twins it is not so, and it will be 100% acceptable. So after transplantation, the recipient's T cell recognizes donor antigen from the graft by the two ways. For the rejection, there are two ways for recognizing the donor antigen. What are these? These are the direct and the indirect. Recognition of graft alloantigen by T and B cell, that is direct pathway of allorecognition, and indirect pathway of allorecognition. Alloantigen, why it is called alloantigen? Because when the transplant is done between the same species, it is known as allograft, and when it is done in the different species, as in our experimental studies, it is known as xenograft. So this antigen is the alloantigen. Now the pathways are of two different types, direct pathway and indirect pathway, but the reactions are T cell mediated and antibody mediated. So coming to the next slide. In the direct pathway, the graft has donor antigen presenting cell. As you all know, the main cell which grab the antigen is the antigen presenting cell, or in the most cases it is dendritic cells or monocyte and macrophages. So this dendritic cell in the donor antigen in the donor graft, this antigen presenting cell has both class 1 and class 2 MHC molecules, and they bind with their antigen. Okay, they presented the antigen, they process the tissue antigen in the dendritic cell, and they presented it with the combination of MHC1 and MHC2. So MHC1 with the antigen and MHC2 with the antigen. So this is loaded, this dendritic cell is loaded with this type of system, and this MHC1 with antigen is recognized by the CD8 cell of the recipient. Similarly, MHC class 2 molecule which present the antigen recognized by the CD4 cells present in the recipient. Though we immunosuppress the recipient, still they have some cells. So this CD4 recognizes this antigen with the help of MHC2 present on dendritic cell or APC, antigen presenting cell, and CD8 recognizes the donor antigen or graft antigen by the help of MHC class 1 present on the dendritic cell. So dendritic cell has both class 1 and class 2 MHC molecules. Now this CD8 cell, as soon as this recognizes the antigen on the APC of the donor cells and donor graft, and these CD8 cells become activated. These are also known as cytotoxic lymphocytes. It will bind to the graft vessel's antigen and will cause the renal vessel, blood vessel injury, that is known as endotheliitis. So it will bind to the endothelial antigens and will cause injury. On the other way, these CD8 T cells also goes to the different antigens of the kidney graft or different part of the kidney, that is, one is the vessel, other is the tubules. So in the tubules it binds with the epithelial antigen and will cause damage of the renal tubule by causing inflammation and the other thing is that this is the pathway of CD8 activation. It will cause endotheliitis, it will cause tubulitis. And on the other hand, the activated CD4 which bind with the antigen present on the APC with the help of MHC2 molecule, this activated CD4 which binds with the antigen, and this will cause stimulation of the this stimulated cell will cause secretion of the inflammatory marker, that is interferon gamma, and this interferon gamma will cause activation of the macrophages and release of other inflammatory markers that will cause the injury, graft injury. So this is the direct pathway in which the antigen presenting cell is from the donor side or graft side, not the recipient side. The other pathway is the indirect pathway in which the antigen presenting cell, which is also present in the recipient's system. So this recipient APC dendritic cell, this directly recognizes the graft antigen, like tubular antigen or vascular antigens, and these antigen, as soon as this directly recognizes this antigen, it engulfs this antigen, it processes the antigen and present it with the help of MHC2 molecule, and MHC, of course, MHC1 molecule. Now this, in the indirect pathway, this MHC2 molecule which present the antigen, which bind with the CD4 cells of the donor, and these CD4C cells or helper T cells stimulated and will secrete interferon gamma. Interferon gamma, again similar to the direct pathway, it causes activation of the macrophages and some inflammatory marker that will cause the renal blood vessel injury. Now, in our previous discussion, we know that the CD4 helper cells have many functions. It has some stimulated effect on the B cell, also its subset CD17. It has three subsets. CD4 has three subsets: CD1, TH17, TH1. So this 17 marker will cause the B lymphocyte activation. Now this lymphocyte directly recognizes the antigen with the surface immunoglobulins, as well as it is activated by the CD4 cell. By this way, it will convert into the plasma cells, so that it will secrete more and more antibodies, and these antibodies goes into the vessels and will bind with the antigen. So there is antigen antibody reaction, and there is vasculitis or endotheliitis or endothelial injury. So there are the two pathway, direct pathway and indirect pathway. So in the direct pathway there is APC, which is from the donor side, and in the indirect pathway the APC is from the recipient side. That is the main difference. And in the indirect pathway, the main thing is that there is CD4 activation with the help of MHC2, while in the direct pathway there is activation of both CD8 and CD4 cells, and will cause further vasculitis, endotheliitis and tubulitis. Now these reactions can be of two types. They are either mediated via the cell or via the antibodies. So the main cell which is causing rejection is the T cell. So there is T cell mediated reaction, acute and chronic. Then there is antibody body mediated reaction, that is hyperacute, acute and chronic rejection. Now coming to the T cell mediated reaction, now they are again divided into acute cellular rejection, which occurs within minutes and hours, and chronic rejection, which occurs later on. So there is, in the acute cellular rejection, there is direct killing of the graft cells by the CD8 lymphocytes. Now recently known that cytokines which is secreted by the activated CD4 T cell, like interferon gamma, will cause inflammation, result in increased vascular permeability, accumulation of monocytes or mononuclear cells, so that there is graft injury caused by the activated macrophages and inflammatory markers. Now the chronic rejection, which occurs later on in the days, in the months, T lymphocytes reacts against the alloantigen which is present in the vessel wall and secrete the cytokines that will cause inflammation. Now the antibody mediated reaction we categorize into the three types: hyperacute, acute and chronic rejection. Hyperacute rejection, in which it occurs within minutes and hours. So there should be some preformed antibodies should be there. So preformed anti-donor antibodies are present in the circulation. Suppose the patient has multiple infusion previously, blood transfusion previously, and suppose the patient or the recipient is the mother or the lady that will has some paternal antigen. In that cases there is some preformed anti-donor antibodies are there, so that will react instantly and will cause rejection. So hyperacute rejection occurs within minutes and hours. In the acute antibody mediated rejection, it is also caused within hours and days, and is caused by the anti-donor antibody produced after transplantation. So transplant antibody causes injury by different mechanism, like complement dependent cytotoxicity, inflammation, or antibody dependent cellular cytotoxicity, that is type 2 hypersensitivity reaction. Then coming to the next, that is the chronic rejection, which occurs after within months or later on, and there is development without preceding acute reaction. There may be development without preceding acute reaction, or that will affect the vascular component or vascular injury. Similar thing, hyperacute occurs within minutes. So antibody reaction of the vascular endothelium, acute within days and months, and there is both type of reaction, cellular and humoral, and chronic occurs slow vascular fibrosis. Now this is the histopathological picture of H&E, that is hematoxylin and eosin stained tissue, in which this is the kidney biopsy. In this it shows the glomeruli. This is the glomerular structure. These are the small vessels. So it shows the thrombi and loaded or hemorrhagic capillaries, and it shows the hyperacute vascular rejection, in which there is presence of thrombi is there and congestion is there. Then there is now the next diagram. This diagram is showing the tubules and the vessel. This tubules showing the some inflammatory cells here and in the interstitium, that is giving the picture of cellular rejection, T cell rejection or tubulitis. Then this is the vascular structure. The endothelium is studded with the inflammatory cells, so this is the picture of endotheliitis. So this is the T cell mediated cellular rejection. Now this diagram is showing the again the cells within the pretubular capillaries. So there is endotheliitis, and this diagram is the immunostain. All these are the H&E stain, and this diagram is the immunostain, in which CD4 is there to to stain the vessels, and therefore there is vasculitis. Now this diagram is showing the glomeruli, and this is the example of the humoral rejection or antibody mediated rejection, in which there is increased mesangial deposition of the basement membrane material, and there is duplication of the capillary wall like this. There is duplication of the capillary wall. There is deposition of the proteinaceous material here, and it will obliterate the mesangial structure. So this is the antibody mediated. Again, this is showing the chronic phase of the rejection, in which there is this is the Mason's trichome stain. This is not H&E stain. So H&E stain, hematoxylin eosin stain, is the normal stain which is routinely done in our labs. But these are the special stain like Mason's trichome stain. It demonstrates the fibrosis present in the chronic rejection. So in the center it shows light blue color is the not very good revealed here, but there is this is asterisks show the blue color rejection part or fibrosis part here. This is the normal kidney, and this is showing the vascular congestion, and this is the vessel which is showing the thickening. So how we increase we do cumbersome job of grafting, then how we increase the graft survival and decrease the rejection of the grafts. So there should be, first point, the graft should be HLA matched. As I already told you that it is not possible to 100% match the HLA antigens, though it is possible only in case of identical twins. So we should match as much as possible. Then second thing is the immunosuppressive therapy. So immunosuppressive therapy we give to the recipient, and it is in different forms, like we should give to the recipient to the steroids, then tacrolimus that will cause the inhibition of the T cells, so there is less T cell activation and subsequent inflammatory injury. Then T and B cell depleting antibodies. So the main cause of rejection is the T cell and B cell present in the recipient, and that will produce injury against the graft antigens. So there should be some, we give some T and B cell, anti-T and anti-B cell antibodies in the form of pooled IV IgG. Then plasmapheresis, in which we remove the antibody. Administration of, now this is the latest thing, that is administration of protein that bind to B7 co-stimulator. In this we already know that there is at the one side is the antigen presenting cell, at the other side is the CD4 cell. Now the antigen presenting cell that grab the antigen and with the help of MHC2 molecule presented it to the CD4 T cell. Now this is the first signal, and in the second signal is the co-stimulator signal. In the co-stimulator signal, the B7 present on the APC and the CD28 present on the CD4, they both will bind to each other, and that will cause the second signal. Only after the second signal there is further immune response occurs. If we block the B7 co-stimulator or B28 co-stimulator, then only will prevent the subsequent immune response. So the new concept is that we administered the protein that bind to the B7 co-stimulator. So there is no availability of the B7 co-stimulator to the CD28, and there will be no further consequences or no interaction or no second signal that will cause the immune response, further immune response. So this is the latest trend. So this is about the transplantation of the kidney tissue. The next is the next common organ or system is the hematopoietic stem cell transplant. So we listen about that bone marrow transplant occurred to somebody and it will not be fruitful. So why it is so? Because there is two complication of the hematopoietic stem cell or bone marrow transplant is the graft versus host disease, and second is the immunodeficiency. So immunodeficiency may be due to some immunosuppressant we give to the recipient, or some radiation or other causes, or some other comorbidity like some malignancies are there in some patient. So that will cause immunodeficiency. The other thing is that is graft versus host disease. In this, it occurs when immunologically competent cells and their precursor are transplanted into the immunologically crippled recipient. So in this, the recipient is immunologically crippled, so we give some immunosuppressive therapy, it becomes crippled immunologically, and we give immunocompetent cells in the graft, in the form of graft, and the transferred cells recognizes the alloantigen in the host and attack the host tissue. So the graft cells, active cells of the graft will attack the host tissue. Because the host is weak and because of the suppression, when immunocompromised recipient receive hematopoietic stem cell from allogenic donor, the immunocompetent T cells present in the graft recognizes the recipient's HLA antigen as a foreign and react against them. So there may be acute graft versus host disease and chronic graft versus host disease. So we divide it into the two. In the acute, it occurs within days or weeks. It affects our immune system, recipient's immune system, epithelia of the skin, liver and intestine. There is desquamation of the skin, jaundice and the bloody diarrhea. In the chronic graft versus host disease, it may follow acute episode or it occurs independently. There is destruction of the skin appendages and fibrosis of the dermis. There may be chronic liver disease that will lead to cholestatic jaundice. Damage to the GIT will cause esophageal stricture. Immune system, involvement of the immune system. There is involution of that will cause involution of the thymus and depletion of the lymphocytes in the lymph node. So that is about the tissue rejection. Now coming to the immunodeficiency syndromes. Now immunodeficiency syndromes can be of two types, primary or genetic, or secondary, that is acquired type. So it is of two types. The primary is of many types, like Bruton primary, or the genetic is the Bruton X-linked A-gamma globulinemia, common variable immunodeficiency, IgA immunodeficiency, and hyper IgM, DGeorge, severe combined immunodeficiency syndrome, that is also known as Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome, and complement deficiency. Now this diagram is showing the development of the different T and B cells and their maturation. So like the pluripotent stem cell is there, that will develop into the stem cell. Then stem cell are of differentiate into two lines, pro B cell and pro T cell. The pro B cell become pre B cell, then pre B cell become immature B cell, and then it mature B cell of different type of IgG types. Then pro T cell, this lymphoid stem cell to pro T cell into the immature T cell, immature T cell into the two types of the cells like CD4 cells and CD8 T cell. So at any level there is halt in the different type of the mutation in the genes that will cause the immunodeficiency or primary type, genetic type. So if there is a loss of maturation from lymphoid stem cell to the pro B cell or pro T cell by the enzyme ADA, adenosine deaminase deficiency, that will cause practically no B and even no pro B cell and no pro T cell. There is marked immunodeficiency. If there is pre B cell is there, from pro B cell, pre B cell is there, pre B cell to immature B cell, there may be halt of this maturation that will lead to X-linked A-gamma globulinemia. From immature B cell, the mature B cell, the process this may be halt, and that will cause the hyper IgM syndrome, hyper IgA deficiency, etc. In the this side, pro T sites, from pro T cells to T cells, immature T cells, if there is halt in this process, that will lead to X-linked combined immunodeficiency syndromes. Now from immature to the T, CD4 and CD8, and this maturation haltation will cause DGeorge syndrome. So there are different type of the primary immunodeficiency syndrome, and the immunodeficiency syndrome which is of acquired type is more common, now in these immunodeficiency syndrome, because of the immunodeficiency, there is lot of infection in these patients. They will get infection, and depending on the which type of immunodeficiency is there, they have different type of infection. Like in T cell defect, there may be some bacterial sepsis, there may be CMV, Epstein-Barr virus, and varicella, chronic infection with intestinal viruses. In fungi, there may be candida, pneumocystis, and carina infection. In the B cell defect, the more common is the streptococci and staphylococci and H. influenzae infection. In viruses, enteroviral encephalitis, and in the fungi and parasite, there is giardiasis. In the parasites, there is giardiasis, intestinal giardiasis. In the granulocyte, if there is granulocyte defect, there is staph and pseudomonas infection in the bacteria, and there is fungi like candida, nocardia, and aspergillus infection. In the complement defects, the bacteria like the Neisseria, gonorrhea infections, and pyogenic infections are more common. Now coming to the acquired or secondary type of the immunodeficiency syndrome, as you all know, you heard about the HIV infection, AIDS disease, and no nation no nation and no any nation is spared with this disease. So we learn about the etiology that is caused by the HIV virus, and the full form is the human immunodeficiency virus. Then we learn about the pathogenesis, how infection occurs. Then morphology, it affects many systems, and its clinical expression. Epidemiologically, it is spread by the homosexual transmission, then IV drug usage, heterosexual transmission, hemophilics, and HIV infection of the newborn. But the major route of transmission is the sexual transmission, parental transmission, and the mother to infant transmission. So why AIDS will occur, the disease AIDS occur. So HIV is the main etiological factor. HIV is a non-transferring human retroviruses belonging to the lentivirus family. The HIV has two genetically different but related forms. These are the HIV-1 and HIV-2. So HIV-1 is the most common in the America, Europe, and Central Africa, and it is also found in the India. HIV-2 is seen in the Africa and India. So we in cases of blood transfusion, we test the blood for both HIV-1 and HIV-2 types. Now coming to the structure of the HIV virion, this is very beautiful in the structure. It has some core proteins and core antigens are there. This is the RNA. This diagram is slightly wrong in the sense that there is only two, this is not the double stranded, this is the single RNA is there, one RNA is there, second is there. So there is two RNA strands, then three enzymes like reverse transcriptase, protease and integrase is there in the core. And with this outer to this core is the P24 capsid protein. Outer to this P24 is the P17 matrix, and externally it is the enveloped by the lipid bilayer. Now this lipid bilayer is studded with the two types of the glycoprotein antigens, that is GP41 and GP120, that will cause the first attack complex with the help of GP41 and GP120. So this is the structure of the virion of the HIV. Rest of this we will study in the next lecture. Thank you.